Welcome back. We begin our journey with Elijah, a humble man from Tishbe. During the reign of King Ahab, Israel is besieged by idolatry and rampant sinfulness. Despite the ominous atmosphere, Elijah receives a powerful divine calling. With courage and unwavering faith, he approaches King Ahab. Elijah's words echo with the weight of divine authority. "As the Lord God of Israel lives, whom I serve, there will be neither dew nor rain in the next few years, except at my word." This declaration marks the onset of a severe drought, altering the fate of an entire nation. As the sun-scorched earth thirsts for relief, Elijah is guided by his faith to the brook Cherith. There, a miraculous provision unfolds. Ravens, black as night, yet harbingers of divine sustenance, bring him bread and meat every morning and evening. Meanwhile, the once prosperous lands wither under the relentless sun. Crops fail, streams dry up, and desperation spreads across King Ahab's kingdom like a plague. Ahab's frustration grows, his throne trembling under the weight of a nation's plight. Elijah, carved by solitude and sustained by unseen hands, remains hidden in the serenity of Cherith. As whispers of his prophecy swirl through Israel, this captivating journey will take us through the trials of Elijah. As the relentless drought continues, God sends Elijah, the prophet, to Zarephath, a town beyond Israel's borders. There he meets a destitute widow gathering sticks. She's preparing to cook what she believes will be the last meal for her and her young son. However, Elijah asks her to feed him first, promising that God will not let her resources run dry. Despite her dire circumstances, the widow chooses faith, trusting this stranger's words and offering him her last morsel. And just as promised, her jar of flour and jug of oil replenish each day, providing enough for them all. But joy turns to grief when her son suddenly falls ill and dies. The widow's anguish is immeasurable, and she questions Elijah, asking if her sins have caused this pain. Elijah, deeply moved, carries the boy upstairs, laying him on his own bed. He cries out to God, heartbroken and full of fervor, pleading for the child's life. A miracle unfolds as God listens to Elijah's earnest prayer. Breath returns to the boy's body and life floods back into his limbs. Elijah carries the living child back downstairs, and the widow's faith is reaffirmed. Overwhelmed with relief and gratitude, she proclaims, "Now I know that you are a man of God, and that the word of the Lord from your mouth is the truth." Today, we're diving into one of the most intense and miraculous events in biblical history. Imagine being there as Elijah returns to confront King Ahab and the 450 prophets of Baal. It's on Mount Carmel that Elijah lays down a challenge, a divine showdown to prove whose God is real. Both sides set up altars, pray to their gods, and wait for fire from the heavens. Picture the frenzy as the prophets of Baal chant, yet such dance, and even cut themselves to invoke their god's power. But the sky remains silent. No fire, no response. Then, with unshakable faith, Elijah steps up. He builds his altar, drenches it with water, not once, not twice, but 3 times. The contrast is striking. A saturated altar now stands. With a simple yet profound prayer, Elijah calls upon the Lord, and suddenly, boom! The heavens answer with a consuming fire that engulfs the offering, the wood, the stones, and even the water in the trench. It's an overwhelming sight, the power of God so evidently displayed that all the people fall on their faces, declaring, "The Lord, He is God." In this dramatic and awe-inspiring showdown, Elijah's faith stands as a testimony to believing against all odds. So, are you ready to witness this amazing journey in your life? After the monumental triumph on Mount Carmel, hope should have been soaring among the faithful. But King Ahab's formidable wife, Jezebel, responded with fury and threats against Elijah, vowing to take his life. Elijah, overwhelmed and in despair, flees into the barren wilderness. Sitting alone under the sun-scorched sky, Elijah prayed, a prayer filled with raw honesty, confessing his exhaustion and asking to be released from his burden. But in Elijah's darkest hour, God's presence did not forsake him. Instead, the divine met him there, providing sustenance of food and water, a reminder of his unwavering care. With renewed strength, Elijah was commanded to embark on a 40-day journey to the sacred Mount Horeb, the mountain of God. At the shelter of a cave, Elijah encountered nature's raw fury, a whirlwind, a ground-shaking earthquake, a consuming fire. Yet, God was not found in these mighty and consuming elements. It was not until the chaos subsided, in the tranquil quiet following the tempest, that a still, small voice spoke to Elijah's heart. In those gentle and comforting words, God reassured Elijah of his presence and unveiled a profound truth. Elijah was not alone. 7,000 others in Israel still stood firm in their faith. Elijah, having regained his strength and purpose, receives a divine mission to find and anoint Elisha as the next servant of God. Elijah spots Elisha diligently plowing a field. Without uttering a word, Elijah walks up to him and places his cloak over Elisha's shoulders. A silent yet powerful gesture indicating a divine calling. Under Elijah's mentorship, Elisha grows spiritually and eagerly prepares for what lies ahead. Their bond strengthens, and the sense of continuity between these two figures becomes deeply apparent. As the time nears for Elijah's departure from the earthly realm, a serene yet poignant exchange unfolds. Elisha, realizing the significance of this moment, boldly asks for a double portion of Elijah's spirit, a symbol of his desire to carry on and multiply the works of his mentor. Elijah, wise and composed, tells Elisha that if he witnesses Elijah's ascension, his wish will be granted. A fiery chariot appears, taking Elijah heavenward in a glorious spectacle. Elisha watches in profound awe and reverence, ensuring his request is fulfilled. This event leaves us with a poignant reminder of the eternal legacy Elijah leaves to Elisha, setting the foundation for the future exploits of this new prophet. Picture the Jordan River. Elisha stands holding the mantle of Elijah. A gentle breeze rustles through the leaves. In the wake of Elijah's miraculous departure, Elisha stands at the river's edge, bearing the weight and responsibility of a legacy few could comprehend. Elisha approaches the Jordan River, the mantle in his hand. He pauses, reflecting on his mentor's profound influence. Elisha cries out, "Where now is the Lord, the God of Elijah?" With a determined gaze, Elisha strikes the waters with the mantle. The river parts, creating a clear passage. He steps forward with purpose. Elisha walks amongst the people, eyes discerning. With Elijah's mantle comes the charge to challenge deceit and lead a generation back to righteousness. A council of corrupt leaders ceases their discussion as Elisha approaches. An air of unease spreads among them. He raises his hand over a barren field. As he whispers a prayer, the land miraculously blooms, embodying hope and divine intervention. Under the mantle of Elijah, Elisha's journey has just begun, a beacon of hope against the shadows that loom. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, and share. See you next time for another Bible tale. Remain blessed.